Hello, friends. Oh god, sorry if that was loud. I'm still getting used to this microphone placement and stuff. Hello, it's I can't say words. Wildlife Wednesday today. I'm Wads, your host. I'm here. We're gonna talk about some animal things, some stuff, some bears, some other animals that are not bears, so on and so forth. I did want to say a couple of things live before. I had a couple announcements I wanted to make before. So number one is, as you may have noticed, it's a Wildlife Wednesday, and I'm planning on doing more Wildlife Wednesdays again in the future. I want it to be a regular thing again because I miss doing it, and I enjoy playing games on stream, but every time I play games on stream, I just don't enjoy it as much because I just want to be giving people more value than that. I want to be teaching you things. I want you to learn. I want me to learn. Anyway. So Wildlife Wednesdays are going to be a thing again. Saturday mental health streams, which I don't have a clever name for yet, but that is also going to be a thing again. Starting this Saturday, since we're getting back into it. I had my one stream of just like, I'm doing whatever, but we're getting back into a rhythm. And so if you have any topics you really want me to cover, particularly for the Wildlife Wednesdays, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just talk about whatever. Also, I just noticed I always keep this mic down, and I don't mean to. I'm just used to it. Put that up. So that's number one, self-care Saturday. I did have a name that. I don't know if I like that, though, because I don't feel like it really encompasses what I want to talk about. I feel like lots of people do self-care streams. But it's not just about me care, it's about you care. Anyway. Fruit by the Foot Friday? Yep, perfect. All right. So that was one thing. I got a new microphone. I got a Blue Yeti Nano, which has been great so far. I'm enjoying it. Meatball Monday. Yep, cooking streams on Monday, but all we make is meatballs. Hey there, fellow ambassador. Hello, Radical. How are you doing today? Looking at some bears right now, but what else was I saying? Right, I got new microphone. I also got a new fancy ring light, but unfortunately it isn't working so good. It the USB connector overheats to the point where it shuts off. So that's a problem. And I'm sending it back and hopefully getting a new one, but I hope to generally improve the stream. 2 streams from now, I will be back in my other house with my nicer setup. But for now, we're here till my mom leaves. Bears cause scares. Bears are dope indeed. What else is new? YouTube. I do that now. It has nothing to do with animals, so if you're here for that, sorry. Care Bears, no scare. But I've been doing mental health for streamers on YouTube, which I've also want to incorporate more into the Saturday streams and stuff, so you can check that out if you haven't already. What is the last thing? Oh, there's also something else that if you have watched my YouTube videos and you like the YouTube videos, there is something else I have in the works that should start coming out in the next couple months that I'm very excited about. And lastly, December, I'm hopefully going to be doing 2 charity events, which I'm excited about. No idea what I'm going to do yet, but that's the plan. That's the plan. That's where we're at. So there you go. Good evening from across the pond. Hi, expert. I was thinking about you earlier because I was thinking about my mental health streams again. Charity events, yes, because more than one organization that I'm associated with are planning to do some, and I was like, I would do that. I want to do charity things also. I think that'd be fun. Yeah, it's nice to see you, expert. Always a pleasure. Now, okay, we can get to talking about. Wait, crap. Hold on. Which browser is it on? I just want to make sure I'm on the right window. Fish, bear. Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. Why is my screen so funky? I apologize. I formatted this before I started the stream, but it has decided it doesn't like what I did. What is happening here? Well, the bears are currently cut off, unfortunately. Oh, I know why. I know why. It's been a minute since I did this, so I apologize. It's because I usually have the window smaller so I can see the chat. I'm a smart girl. You see, it would be smaller, so yes, I see. And then yes, okay. Okay, I remember how to stream. It's been a minute, okay? There we go. Now it should be good. Now I've just screwed everything over. Okay. Now this should be back over here. Hello. What have I done here? Oh Lord. You know what? It's fine. It's a little off center and it's bothering me. Hold on. I don't want you to look at that. Just look at me. Don't look at the bear, look at me. Thank you. You don't need to see what's happening in the background. I did format this before. I'm gonna have to head to bed because it's late here, but I wanted to pop by and say hi to y'all. No problem. I appreciate that you stopped by. Just put the bears over here. How about that? Put the bears. I also have some good news. Just finished the first job I got on Fiverr for voiceovers. Oh my god, that's so exciting. That's awesome. I know you talked before about wanting to do voiceovers. That's so cool. Are you allowed to say what it's for? I would love to know. Okay. I believe I have conquered the bears. I believe I have. Okay, we're going. The bears. There we are. Okay, it was an ad for a matchmaking website. Oh my god, that's so good. That's so good. Please send it to me when it comes out. I'm helping bring people together. Yep, yes you are. Absolutely. Okay, and then I just need to bring up my little notes because I can't just talk from my brain. It don't work like that. People will come to bear with your voice. That's wonderful. It is. Okay. So today we are talking about hibernation and various different kinds of hibernation and so on and so forth. And the reason I picked that was because it's getting to be winter here. It's been really nice over the past couple days, but it's getting cold and winter is coming. So I thought it would be apt to talk about hibernation because that's a thing animals are going to be doing here soon. So that's how I came up with that. That's basically it. That's not a nice picture. I don't want to look at that. Look at the nice bears. Oh, that's good. And I think usually when we think about hibernation, we think about bears. And bears are one that hibernate, but there's lots of other animals that hibernate or do something similar. So I wanted to talk about them also. So to get started, we gotta like zoom out a little bit. Does hibernation have anything to do with the fact that I feel more sleepy when it's cold? Well, the thing about being cold is it does slow you down. And so this is the first thing I want to talk about, which is this is something we have talked about before. But basically every species of like plant and animal, can we hibernate too? I think there's been research into if humans can hibernate or like go into a state like that, but we're not there yet, maybe. Anyway, so every species, oh, this is not a nice graph. Is this one nicer? Sure, this is fine. Let's make this bigger. So every species has a range, and this can be like of temperature, pH, oxygen, salinity, so on and so forth. And there's always a range, and you'll see in the middle, there's an optimal range, which is the best place for them to be. And then on both sides, there's a range where there's stress. So it's, less optimal. You'll find less of these organisms there. And then there is a range of intolerance, which is just like, they'll just die at that point. So, for the example of temperature, it's like, for any, for humans even, or any animal, it's like at a certain low temperature, we just literally can't survive. And then at a warmer temperature, and this, well, we'll get away from the humans example because we have all this like artificial stuff going on. So we'll talk about, a fish. And so at a certain temperature on both sides, there just won't be any fish. And then you get in a little bit, and I believe there's a point at which they can survive, a point at which they can grow, and then a point at which they can reproduce, and those get like closer and closer to the optimal range. But again, most of the time you'll find that particular species mostly in what is the optimal range. Some animals and plants and whatever, but this is an animal stream, have a wider range that they can tolerate, and some have a very narrow range that they can tolerate. So it varies. It varies. It's all over the place. And temperature specifically is kind of something we're going to talk about throughout, because it's one of the reasons hibernation happens. Oh god, what have I done? There we go. Sorry, sometimes I click out of Windows. My food isn't gonna be here for another 22 minutes, bada punch. That's fair. Have you tried? I mean, you are getting it delivered, right? Do you have the, app where it shows you where the driver's at? Okay, what was I talking about? Temperature. We were talking about temperature. So temperature impacts lots of things in our body. Temperature impacts the chemical processes in our bodies. It can slow them down or speed them up, and at a certain point it can denature proteins and stuff like that. It also can impact how efficient your muscles are, how well your blood is flowing, the speed of metabolism, this digestion, lots and lots of things. So temperature is an important one. And animals have a couple of different strategies to deal with temperature, because that's one of the things you gotta deal with if you're an animal. So I think this is the graph I wanted. Hold on. Was it this one? I think it was. Wait a second. It's this one. This one. This one. This is good. Yes, this is good. But they're eating my pokey. This one's probably a little bit funky to see. So essentially, in terms of thermoregulation, which is regulating your temperature, there's, again, a couple of different things. So, God, this is actually way worse than I thought it'd be. You can see the basic words. So the first thing is we have animals that are endothermic and ectothermic. So ectothermic basically just means outside temperature, and endo means inside temperature. And all that means is endothermic animals make their own heat, so they're usually warmer than the surrounding area. And then ectothermic animals do not make their own heat, so they're the temperature of whatever's around them. Sam ordered salmon pokey. Bears eat salmon. Bears are gonna eat my pokey. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really like sashimi. I really like salmon sashimi. And every time I eat salmon sashimi, I just feel like a bear on some level. That meme that it's when you eat popcorn out of the palm of your hand and you both feel like the girl feeding the horse and the horse? It's kind of like that, but I feel like the person feeding the bear and also the bear. Bear on stream. I don't even think I have a bear plushie here anywhere. Anyway, so endothermic, ectothermic just means animals that make their own heat and animals that don't make their own heat and need to get heat from the environment. So as you probably know, stuff like birds and mammals are, I think, always or almost always endothermic, and stuff like reptiles and amphibians and fish are usually ectothermic. There is some exceptions to that, but usually they have to get heat from their environment, which is why you see stuff like, lizards and snakes will come out to bask where it's warm because they have to absorb sunlight or, get heat, absorb the heat off rocks or whatever in order to get their metabolism up and be able to digest food and that kind of stuff. And then we have homeothermic and poikilothermic. I always feel like I'm saying that word wrong, so you're just gonna have to bear with me here. So poikilotherms are, I was pointing at the wrong thing. Poikilotherms are animals where their body temperature varies, whereas homeotherms are animals that their internal temperature doesn't really vary. You may have heard the word homeostasis. Homeostasis, I can write words, it's fine. And so homeostasis is about being able to maintain a stable internal state, and so homeotherms maintain a fairly stable internal temperature. And where it gets really spicy is you can have animals that kind of go back and forth. I think the word for that is heterothermy. Heterothermy. I believe that's what it is. And all my homies maintain a stable temperature. And one example of animals that exhibit heterothermy is animals that hibernate, like particularly like mammals that hibernate, because something like a bear would, be a homeotherm and maintain a pretty stable internal temperature throughout the year, except when it gets colder, part of hibernation is letting the body temperature drop or causing the body temperature to drop as a way to decrease metabolism, and so you use less energy. And so you can see here it has some examples of endotherms, ectotherms, homeotherms, poikilotherms. So in the homeothermic and endothermic category, we have mostly birds and mammals, though tuna and some other large fish can come close. Yeah, there is a really cool thing that we're not probably going to get into so much here, but there are some fish that do regional endothermy, which basically just means there are some parts of their body they keep warm, not all of them, but usually like vital organs or important muscles or stuff like their eyeballs, important things. In the homeothermic, ectothermic region, we have some tropical reptiles and possibly dinosaurs. I don't know so much about that, I'll be honest, about homeothermic ectotherms, because that would be something that doesn't make its own heat but still maintains a fairly stable temperature, which is interesting. And then we have endothermic poikilotherms, which are also stuff I don't know so much about. Birds and mammals that allow their body temperature to vary during certain times. I guess that could be either. You could argue it either way about what's a poikilotherm versus just like heterothermic, whatever. There's variation, and then there's animals that just don't vary. That's all you need to know. Wait, the delivery time changed to 6:22. Oh my god, that's really soon. And then you have poikilothermic ectotherms, which is what we think about fish, amphibians, reptiles, Dashivid vertebrates, that kind of stuff. Why is this so dramatic? The app, maybe it's because you're using DoorDash. All my homies use Skip the Dishes. All of them. Oh god. Hey, I can do this. I'm gonna check my phone. I just like to check that the audio is working every once in a while. I mean, I presume you would tell me the audio wasn't working, but like, who knows? Audio's not working, but it's only because, oh wait, no, it's good. It's good. I'm just paranoid. We're good. Okay, I need a sip. Hold on. By the way, this, I planned, well, I didn't plan, but I was going to have a 2-hour stream, but I honestly, I made notes, no idea how long the notes are gonna last me. So we may go an hour, we may go an hour and a half, we may go 2 hours. I don't know. I'm gonna go as long as I can talk about hibernation. That's about it. And then I'll probably go play Genshin Impact. 24-hour stream. I don't think I will ever do a 24-hour stream in my life. I know some people like doing them, and that's valid. I don't think I could ever do that to myself. I need 9 hours of sleep, so that would really screw me up. I think the most I would ever do is a 12-hour stream, but that's really stretching it since I like 2-hour streams. So maybe one day. Where was I? We were talking about ectotherms and endotherms and so on and so forth. So there obviously has to be a reason that endothermy evolved, because sort of I believe endothermy evolved after ectothermy because it's a more complicated thing. It takes a lot of energy to create heat and to maintain a stable environment, internally. Gonna go wait for food. Wish me luck. I hope it only takes 3 minutes. So God, sorry, I really just lose my train of thought completely sometimes. Yeah, endothermy comes with a high metabolic cost, but it's a good strategy, especially to inhabit colder environments. That is one of the main, I think, benefits, advantages. And you do actually see this in the fact that so most mammals that live in the ocean, with the exception of like dolphins, are found mainly in polar waters. So dolphins you do find in the tropics, but most cetaceans, which is like whales, dolphins, porpoises, and stuff like that, and pinnipeds, which is seals, sea lions, walruses, so on, are found more in polar waters. And like part of the reason is because they have, you know, adapted to be able to produce their own heat, because I just lost my train of thought again. Like you have to have, if you're a fish, you have to have more specialized adaptations to live in colder environments than warmer environments, because as we talked about, like you need warmth to keep blood flowing and to have your muscles work efficiently and so on and so forth, and to have, you know, chemical processes in your body go on. But there is adaptations for cold temperatures that aren't just endothermy. Dolphins are just nature's exception. Yeah, they just be out here doing whatever they want. But you know, we think about cetaceans and pinnipeds, all the chunky mammals that live in the water. They're chunky. They're chunky. And that's part of their adaptation to really like insulate. I wish I was a fish. I want to be a bluefin tuna. God, you'd be so fast. I think I'd want to be like a whale shark, or maybe some kind of whale. Because I feel like they kind of just chill. You know, they don't do much once they reach a certain size. Well, even babies, like not a lot of things will fuck with them. I just want to be big. I got to stand on a table today to plug in the Ethernet cord, and I didn't want to get down because I liked feeling tall. So, do you know what about blue tuna? Bluefin tuna makes them so sought after? I remember Kyle explained it to me, but I forgot. Like, do you mean as like a commercial product? Because I don't think I do. I know tuna are cool because they're one of the ones that do like endothermy, I think. I'm gonna look up tuna endothermy. Hold on. But no, I don't think I know why as a commercial product. It's achieved by conserving the heat generated through normal body metabolism, accomplished through the action of intertwined mesh of veins and arteries, known as the rete mirable, meaning wonderful net, located in the periphery of the body. That's very cool. Sorry, we're going to look at Science Daily now, because now I want to just look at tunas. How tuna stay warm with cold hearts. Prize bluefin tuna keep their hearts pumping during temperature changes that would stop a human heart. It is very cool. I mean, I think some animals are just really good at retaining heat, and it's like using muscles can produce heat, and then they're really good at rerouting it. The heart is chilled because it receives blood directly from the gills, which mirrors water temperature. The heart is stressed out. Me too. The mismatch between oxygen demands of the tuna's warm swimming muscles and the cardiac system that operates at water temperature is a puzzle that the team has long been trying to solve. They're unique. And I know, so tuna are one that I believe do regional endothermy. I think swordfish, I had a moment, I couldn't remember the first word. And I believe some sharks maybe also do regional endothermy. Regional muscle endothermy. Lubricating the swordfish head. I realize I keep like hunching over to get close to the mic when I don't really need to do that. Temperature regulation. Though most fish are ectothermic, mackerels, tuna, swordfish, marlins, and some sharks are endotherms. Which sharks are endothermic? Hit me up. And why? Salmon, porbeagle, white, and short-fin mako, as are 5 species of tuna, got food, not so cold-blooded animals. Rise in body temperature and certain. They can maximize their swimming distance and speed. God, that's all I want. Be able to maximize my speed and swimming distance. some species of fish are unique. They have a web of arteries and veins lying very close together. So there's a whole thing that goes on. I don't know if that's what's going on here, but there's a whole thing that goes on that can go on with like countercurrent exchange, where you have, I can't remember if this is for like blood flow or what's it for, but you could have, hold on, actually, let's just find a picture. I'm always amazed by how many things I actually remember from my time in the school, you know? Yes, that's what I meant. I think, is it blood flow? There's a crossover. But this is one way you can preserve heat, I think, where, you know, if you have two tubes beside each other and they're both going the same way, if there's, you know, a permeable membrane up in here and stuff can go back and forth, then you can have, you know, heat going over to the cool place because there wants to be equilibrium. But that, like, if they're both going the same way, that just means the heat is all going out. But if you have countercurrent exchange, so one tube is going one way and the other tube is going the other way, if this is the blood going out and this is the blood coming in, it can get warmed up again by the blood going out. Because you need warmth most here where your vital organs are and not so much in your extremities. Water kill. It also happens with respiration. Spicy. Yeah, this is a good chart. You can see this would be the blood going out and it's getting cooler, and this would be the blood coming in, it's getting warmer by the blood that's going out. So smart. Who designed this? So smart. The cost of moving faster and farther is high, so there has to be an ecological region that outweighs the physiological expenditure. God, those were some big words. Good thing I'm good at reading. These endothermic fishes are putting a lot of energy into each unit of movement than their cold-blooded counterparts. The estimated cost of transport is twice as high, but in return they're getting benefits from that increased swimming speed. But why? More efficient hunters, and they can span larger areas. I do believe, yeah, like sharks and I think swordfish and tuna are all predators, like pretty big predators. So you gotta be fast. One species in particular, the white shark, has a migration range greater than that of the humpback whale. Endothermy involved independently in these distinctly different groups of fish. That's cool. Their common ancestor was most likely cold-blooded. It's just really interesting. I love when there's convergent evolution, which, if you don't know what it is, it basically just means that different groups of animals evolved the same solution to a problem. So, and you know, example of that is flight. Flight has evolved multiple times. And so they're, you know, like birds and bats both fly, but bats did not like descend directly from birds. They descended from a non-flying animal and then flew. Man, I'm not very fast. Yeah, I'm not fast either. Yeah, like how everything turns into crabs. Oh, okay, we're taking a second here. What's it called again? I can't remember. It's not called crabification, but I'm looking up crabification in the hopes that it will give me what I wanted. Carcinization, right? Beautiful. It's an example of convergent evolution in which a crustacean evolves into a crab-like form, and it has happened a lot of times. Who described it as one of the many attempts of nature to evolve a crab. Beautiful. So the convergent evolution means that, here, oh no, hold on. Carcinization. What if I did an entire Wildlife Wednesday on crabs? What then? I meant to go in here. I want an example. An illustrated example. So, oh, this is a good one. Oh wait, no, I don't want a YouTube video. I don't want it. Okay. So this is a good example. because, so obviously fish can swim, and we have aquatic mammals that can swim. But what actually happened was you had swimming animals, and some evolved to live on land, and then from there, some evolved to swim again. So you had, here you had vertebrates happen, and then somewhere along this line, you had animals that evolved to live on land, and then it was sort of went backwards, and animals evolved to get back into the water. And that is the reason that most, if not all, fish have tails that like go back and forth, and dolphins and whales and stuff like that have tails that go up and down. Want to invite a crab to stream? Do you have a crab? We can find a crab expert. God, I wish. I would be blessed. Okay. Anyways, crabs. So there's been 5 groups of decapod crustaceans, which decapod just means they have 10 limbs. 10 feeties. King crabs. Porcelain crabs. Hairy stone crab. Coconut crab. God. Have y'all seen... Okay, well, I was about to say, have you seen coconut crabs? But, like, there's a picture right there. Coconut crabs are literally terrifying. They're friggin' huge, and they look like nightmare spiders. Do you want to see? Do you want to see this nightmare of an animal? Coconut, yeah, literally the first video was coconut crabs, your worst nightmare. Look at this. It literally looks like a horror game thing. Hate the Japanese spider crabs. Look at it. If I saw that in real life, I would cry. I would just cry on the spot. That would be it. That would be the whole thing. Like, you can't tell me that doesn't look like something that belongs in some kind of alien-inspired horror game. They're terrifying. And they're big. I mean, you can see that there, like, that's a regular size. The coconut crab might be the scariest crustacean. People agree. Gonna hurt his feelings. Like, oh my god, that's a lot of crabs. Cannibalistic, oh, that's nice. I don't know if y'all have ever tried to pick up a crab, but it's scary. Pinch me, baby. You like pick them up from the back where they can't reach you. Do crabs have genders? I mean, crabs can be like male, female, but I don't think they have any kind of concept of gender. They just are. They got one big hand, one little hand, if that's relevant. Oop. Were you asking if crabs reproduce asexually? What a nightmare that would be. We would have one kind of crab only. I don't know. I think some crabs exhibit sexual dimorphism, but I don't know if they all do. That just means that there's differences in the appearance of the males and the females. Okay. We've gone off on a tangent. Where were we? Crabs. True crabs. Wait. Oh, you were saying something about the Japanese coconut crab, right? Hold on. This still has to do with hibernation because there's a kind of crab that I think estivates, which is hot weather hibernation. So this is relevant. It's fine. Is this just the same thing? I feel like it is. Japanese spider crab. It's just showing me the same thing though. Also, crabs are friggin' strong. I did a lab where we had to measure the force produced by a crab like pinching something, and it was a lot. Oh, sorry, spider crab, not coconut. I'm very sorry. That's my bad. That's my bad. I just teared up a little bit. This does not look real. That is not a real thing. Look at this little friggin'. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose my mind. Oh. Why? Why is he like that? Who allowed that to happen? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Look up Surskrit. Is that like, that's a Pokemon, right? It's a little, yeah, but he's a nice looking boy. Look at, that's a lovely boy. I don't think they're based off of I don't think they're based off of those crabs. I think they're based off of one of those bugs who runs on the water. Like that. But I don't want to know. Remember when I said this stream was going to be 2 hours? And somehow we're over here now. Who knows? Pond Skater. Yeah, I think it's based off of one of the... I forget what they're called. The skating bugs? That's not what they're called. What are they called? Pond skaters? Water striders. This is why water striders make terrible lifeguards. I would love to watch that movie, but I'm trying to not watch YouTube videos. Ugh, because you might get in trouble. Look at them. Beautiful. So talented. They're incredibly talented. Okay. Anyways. Bugs can skate. Only on the water. Okay, now that we've looked at this nightmare of an animal. Upsetting. Deeply upsetting. That can't be. That's not true. That's not real. That's no. No. Okay, I think that's a little overstated. I can't even skate. I can't swim either. Yeah. Wow. I just need a second here. Okay, where were we? That is way too big for a crab. Yeah, okay, so we were here. And we were talking about... Yes, we were talking about inhabiting colder environments. Man, coconut crabs, those guys are crazy. They are. Although, I think that spider crabs are worse. Although I think a coconut crab could break a spider crab in half. Anyways. But, so we were talking about... Also, hi, Colton. Thanks for joining. Lovely to see you. Glad you're here to talk about crabs with us. So right, the point I was making before was just that you find more aquatic mammals in the poles than in the tropics, and it's because they have adapted that they can be in colder waters because they have endothermy, which is just one strategy for colder environments, but it works. I was watching him on TV earlier. You were? Did I tell you, Colton, that on Halloween we had like one family come over for a brief outside like trick-or-treat thing, socially distanced of course, Swan, but we had our car out because it had been used for trunk-or-treat and it looked like a snake and it was very cool. And there was these two kids that came over and one of them's name was Colton and he was very rude about the snake because apparently I think we were the last stop on their scavenger hunt. And the mom made some comment, I think, about how it was like a cool place to end it. And he goes, "What do you mean? It's just a snake." I was like, as a fellow Colton, I do not claim him. I was deeply unhappy. Also, it's too bad the weather wasn't like it was now because I was going to bring my actual snake out for the children to see, but it was too cold and I was like, I'm not playing that game. Colton's being rude to Snake? That can't be. Snakes are cool as heck. I would never be rude to Snake. I know you wouldn't. I'm just saying somebody is out there soiling your good name. So, just be aware of that. I would never. Right, so, endothermy. Now, okay, so seasonality is obviously part of hibernation, the seasons changing. There are some warmer seasons, there are some colder seasons. And like the seasons changing is more of a land thing. Like the ocean doesn't really freeze. The temperatures stay a lot more stable than on land, obviously. There's a traitor among the Coldens. So I was gonna say, like, I don't think any ocean animals hibernate. They might do something similar for a different reason, but we're talking about land animals mostly. I think we will talk about a couple that are animals that live in water, but the reason they estivate, which is the hot weather hibernation, the reason they estivate is because it gets too hot and there's not enough water, which is a different reason, which we'll get there. But anyways, so as you may know about the winter, the plants get covered, you know, the trees lose their leaves. There's just a lot less vegetation and food available for animals, and it gets really cold. So there's less opportunity to get food to make fuel, and you also need more fuel in order to keep warm to combat those, you know, cold temperatures. It's cold. It's cold outside. So in places that it's really cold, some animals are just like, you know what, forget the winter, gonna sleep through it, just gonna forget the whole thing, forget it, right? That's how it goes. But we're gonna zoom back a little bit because everything I'm talking about today, except for the first part, but you know, hibernation and estivation and this thing called torpor and like brumation, all these things are a kind of dormancy. So I know that bears eat a bunch before they hibernate, but don't squirrels do something different? Yeah, so some animals will eat a bunch, like bears. They'll just eat a bunch before hibernation to have the energy to get through it. And some other animals, I think like squirrels and some other stuff like that, will instead store a bunch of food. And I think they do like routinely like wake up for a bit and then they go back to hibernating. Yeah, well, we will look at specific species in a bit, but I wanted to look at dormancy. Dormancy is sleepy time. Dormancy is a period in an organism's life cycle when growth, development, and in animals, physical activity are temporarily stopped. That minimizes metabolic activity and therefore helps an organism to conserve energy. So as we talked about, like, this is usually because the environment is no longer favorable for them. There's a lot less food. It becomes harder to keep warm and stuff. And so the better option is just to lower your metabolic rate. So you need less fuel and just wait it out. Just skip the winter like I would like to. And like plants and stuff do this too. Obviously, plants don't do stuff like producing flowers and seeds and letting them go in the winter. They do that in the spring and the summer. So dormancy is a thing you see in both animals and plants. And here it even says predictive dormancy occurs when an organism enters a dormant state before the adverse conditions, whereas consequential, I believe, happens after the adverse conditions have arisen. Yeah, there is, I think it maybe gets to this in one of the articles I was looking at, but it sounds like there are some animals that go into hibernation like around the same time regardless of the temperature, which I find weird because for hibernation to happen there has to be like some kind of trigger. There's a lot of, you know, stuff like circadian rhythms and stuff that use daylight to sort of set the internal cycle. There's stuff like that too with temperatures and stuff where, you know, at lower temperatures the animals will start eating lots and like settling into hibernate. But for the ones that like do it around the same time even without the temperature dropping below a certain point, like I don't get that. I don't understand. Anyway. So in animals, we're not really going to talk about plants. I don't really like talking about plants that much. But in animals, as you can see, there's some of the stuff we talked about. We'll touch briefly on diapause, but I don't find it that interesting. What if I eat a bunch and then sleep? I mean, you will be experiencing, I guess I guess it's not really dormancy, because you can be like your body is repairing itself and stuff at night. So I don't know if that counts. I think you just be eating and sleeping. I think that's it. Although I think does your body temperature drop when you sleep? I think it does, right? I don't know. I don't know much about humans. I don't study humans except their brains. So in animals, we have hibernation, which is used to reduce energy expenditure and survive food shortages in the winter. And this happens with stuff like decreased heart rate and decreased body temperature. Like literally, they just slow down. Everything slows down or stops in their body. And then it gets some stuff about ATP, and I don't like that stuff very much. Oh God, no. I didn't mean that. Then we have diapause, which I haven't really looked into. It's predetermined by an animal's genotype. It just allows them to suspend development between autumn and spring. Oh, an insect. Yeah, because I know there's a thing about embryonic diapause, which it's saying here, which is in roe deer, an embryo can attach to the uterine lining, but it won't start developing until it gets to the point where the offspring will be born in spring, because that is when the baby has the most chance of survival. So it's a good strategy. Roe deer. Okay. And then there's estivation, which is hibernation in a hot or dry temperature, or not temperatures, hot temperatures, and also when stuff is really dry, which tends to go with the hot temperatures. And we'll get to talking about lungfish. I'm excited about this one, but it does happen particularly in animals like snails and worms that do best in wet environments. And so when it's not wet, it's better for them to just like close up shop for a bit, wait it out. And then also in stuff like lungfish, salamanders, tortoises, crocodiles. And then there is brumation. And if I'm, I guess I could just read. I was gonna try to explain the difference, but I guess I could just read first to make sure I'm explaining it right. But I believe that the difference, or like one of the differences between brumation and hibernation is, yeah, like it's saying, like endotherms do hibernation because their body processes are causing their body temperature to go down, whereas, ectotherms are not producing their own heat, so they can cause their body temperature to go down, but it's not so much by internal processes. Reptiles brumate, and they can brumate in captivity, but they don't have to, because the reason, again, they brumate is kind of like hibernation, where it's like stuff gets too cold. I have at the job I used to work, where I worked with reptiles, they would brumate snakes they wanted to breed and stuff like that, and turtles they wanted to breed, because I guess that it helps with their, again, like sort of seasonal cycles. And I don't really know. I don't know that much about it, but you don't have to, if you have reptiles, you don't like have to brumate them, because you can maintain the temperatures. So it's not, I don't think it's bad for them to not brumate, but I guess you'd save on food money, because they don't really eat while they're brumating. But I'm about to hibernate. Honestly, ideal. I wish I could hibernate. Oh, God. I wish I could. God, I wish that was me. Okay, I'm gonna be right back. Really quick, like, I have to pee. So I'll be right back. I'll leave you a little bit of music while I'm gone. Hi, I'm back. Apparently I got ripped off by the Pokeboys. What happened? Did they not give you your salmons? Or your spicy? Okay. Where were we? Where were we? You paid too much. What do you mean? Not enough food. Oh. Is this something you just decided on your own? How much was the food and how much they give you? Oh my god. Okay, where were we? Oh yes, we went through briefly all the kinds here. It was $15, the opposite of those vacuum commercials. So you just said that she gets more for cheaper. I feel like when I get Pokeballs, I feel like it's around $15 for the actual bowl, but it's like enough. Well, it's enough to make me very, very full, or enough to have it for like 2 sittings. So it is quite a bit of food. Okay. So that's a little about dormancy. And then you can see here the different kinds of like dormancy that goes on. Like it was a half-filled medium bowl. That does not seem like a lot of stuff. One thing I wanted to look at, because I didn't put this in my notes, but I was looking at this when I was researching this, is there's also a thing called winter rest, which is different than hibernation. It wasn't. Sometimes the only way you learn is by spending $15 to get a half-filled Pokeball. It just goes like that sometimes, you know? Winter rest is a state of reduced activity living in extratropical regions of the world during the most. What's the difference? What is the difference? Winter rest is different from true hibernation since metabolism is not reduced drastically. The body temperature is not significantly lowered. However, the heart rate is reduced. It means animals like the raccoon can quickly become active again if temperatures rise or the snow melts. Okay, I feel like we have some very similar terms with very small differences, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, so now we actually are going to talk about hibernation, but first of all, we're going to talk about, so there's sleep, there's torpor, and there's hibernation, which are all kind of similar things, but they're different. Sleep in non-humans refers to a behavioral and physiological state characterized by altered consciousness, reduced responsiveness, and homeostatic regulation. So, let's look at the definition real quick. Sleep is a state characterized by reversible unconsciousness, special brainwave patterns, sporadic eye movement, loss of muscle tone, and so I think one of the differences, I'm not clear on all the differences between, so first of all, there's sleep and there's torpor. I don't know how to say it. Torpor is also a state of decreased physiological activity that usually there's reduced body temperature and metabolic rate. Can last days to week, or it can refer to a period of low body temperature and metabolism lasting less than 24 hours, as in daily torpor. So there is like daily torpor, which is periods of low activity, and sleep, which are kind of similar, but I think one of the differences is that sleep has periods of REM, which is rapid eye movement, which indicates, I think, a deep state of sleep, and torpor is only ever non-REM, I think. I'm not positive on this stuff, don't quote me. I did some research, but I was having a very hard time finding out the difference, but like the actual difference between all these things. And then I've seen these words all used a little interchangeably too, so I'm not really sure on it. And then supposedly hibernation and estivation are kind of like extended forms of torpor. Watson is watching too now. Can you ask him if he hibernates? Yeah, again, they're all kind of used interchangeably, so if I use the wrong term somewhere and you're a hibernation, torpor, sleep expert, then I'm sorry. Oh god. You think he ever sleeps? I have seen him sleep. I have seen it with my old 2 eyes. All he do is run. No, he sleeps and then he runs. And then he sits. Those are his 3 states. Sleep, sit, run. I just had a moment where I couldn't remember if I'd switched to the correct screen. Never once is his life. Animals that undergo daily torpor include birds. Hello, I think I'm finally catching your stream for the first time. Hi, Geeker Girl Sarah. It's so nice to see you. To be fair, in your defense, I was on a very long break and I only literally recently started again. This is only stream 2 post-break, so no problem at all. We're talking about hibernation and stuff. So if you like animal biology, you have come to the right place. Might even get out the snake at some point. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, so animals that undergo daily torpor include birds, hummingbirds, for sure. They just do a little, not quite a sleep, but reduce the internal temperature. During the active part of their day, animals maintain normal body temperature and activity levels, but their metabolic rate and body temperature drop during a portion of the day to conserve energy. I think this is also a thing animals sometimes do when they're, what's the word? Migrating. All right, that's fair, but also I see you on girl streamers all the time, so I feel like I just missed streams. No, it's okay. Literally for the last couple weeks, I took a break from streaming because I was visiting my family and I needed to like figure out my life a little bit. So I am fairly active on girl streamers. At least I try to be. I try. Since I am like a mod and stuff. I'm always lurking, though. I always see what's going on. Anyway, so to my understanding, torpor is like sleep, but a little different, I think, because of the more reduced temperature and physiological activity overall, and the no periods of REM. I don't know. Biology is not my usual branch of science, but I'm 100% here for Scientech streams. That's great to hear. I love talking about animals and animal biology. If you don't know, I have a degree in marine biology with a minor in neuroscience, so I have a little bit of psychology too. And like biology and psychology are like my favorite things to talk about ever. And so I was like, why don't I just make streams out of that? Because I love playing games, but I don't know, wanted to share all the things I'm really, really passionate about with people. So here I am, doing my thing. Yeah, starting to science. I just get so excited. Anyways, and then we have hibernation. Actually, before we do that, I want to look at this. Slowing metabolic rates to conserve energy in times of insufficient resources is the primary. Well, I know, but that's the same as hibernation. I think also sleep has other uses that are maybe not just for resource saving. I nerd to technology all the time. I mostly do programming streams. That's really cool. That's awesome. I honestly am just super here for people talking about things they're really passionate about, because I think people just light up when they talk about things they really like, and I'm all about that. All about it. Circadian rhythms during torpor. Animals that enter torpor rely on biological rhythms to continue natural functions. Different animals will manage their circadian rhythms differently, and in some animals it seems to completely stop, like hamsters. I don't know. I'm honestly not sure what it's even saying here. Anyways. Torpor can be a strategy of animals with unpredictable food sources. High latitude living rodents use seasonality. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh yeah, they totally light up totally here for that. You subscribed at a tier 2. Now you get the other emote too that you made. That is so sweet. Thank you so much, Saida. I love you. I'm going to cry on the stream. I think you get a little star by your name now. Oh no, you don't, because you have the founder badge. Now I can do the cry emote. You sure can, you know, and that's what we're really here for. Hey, chat peeps, how's it going tonight? Oh, Colton gave me a hydrate. Thank you. I'm getting too excited. I need sippy. I got too many badges. You do. I continue to be sad about the founder badge because the founder badges are cool, but also you don't get to see the great badges that Saida made that I love. Unless I don't even know. Hold on. Oh, that's not even my. I can't even remember my own things. See, I currently have the leopard gecko, is what I have. So, do a ship. I drowned. Okay. Survival during mass extinction. Oh my god. Wow. Tippy. Parasite resistance. NASA deep sleep option for mission to Mars. This is, I sort of talked about this. I don't know a ton about this, but I do know that people have researched into whether people can hibernate for stuff like space travel, and I think also for like kind of in the same way as like an induced coma and that sort of use for people who are, you know, hurt or sick or so on and so forth. So hibernation. Again, a state of minimal activity and metabolic depression, very similar to torpor. It's seasonal heterothermy characterized by low body temperature, slow breathing, heart rate, and low metabolic rate. So if you weren't here before, basically we're just talking about how thermoregulation, controlling the temperature that your body is at, is a very important thing that all animals have to deal with in some way, and some animals will be the same temperature as what's around them. Some animals make their own heat and are usually warmer than the like what's around them, and this can all impact a lot of like body processes, so it's important to regulate. But usually it's endotherms, animals that make their own heat, that actually hibernate. And then we talked about there's also brumation and stuff like reptiles, which is hibernation, but it's for ectothermic animals, animals that don't make their own heat. So I guess the process is a little different. A lot of words, not a lot of time, you know. Hibernation functions to conserve energy when sufficient food is unavailable. Hibernation may last days, weeks, or months, and I believe there's like a difference. There's like true hibernation, and I guess not true hibernation, false hibernation. And I think the difference is that like true hibernation is such a deep state that it's hard for animals to quickly come out of it, where there are some animals that can, you know, come in and out of it, like we talked about the squirrels. Oh, although traditionally reserved for deep hibernators, such as rodents, the term has been redefined to include animals such as bears and is now applied based on active metabolic suppression rather than any absolute decline in body temperature. Many experts believe that the processes of daily torpor and hibernation form a continuum and utilize similar mechanisms. They do admit that they're similar things. The equivalent during the summer months is estivation, which we will talk about in a bit. Some species hibernate while gestating young, which are born either while the mother hibernates or shortly after. Spicy. Hibernation may last days, weeks, or months depending on the species, ambient temperature, time of year, and the individual's body condition. Animals need to store enough energy to last through the duration of their dormant period. Larger species become hyperphagic, eating large amounts of food, and smaller species will food cache. I wonder why that is. I wonder why smaller species don't also just eat a whole bunch of stuff. It's interesting, because it does specify that the difference between larger species and smaller species, not just different species. Hello, Nestbreaker. Thank you so much for the follow. I hope you're enjoying. I hope you're learning things. I hope this doesn't just make you want to hibernate yourself, because it does kind of me. Wish I could skip the winter. Anyways. ectothermic animals, so animals that don't make their own heat, undergo periods of metabolic suppression and dormancy, which in many invertebrates rather, is referred to as diapause. And then some people use brumate to describe winter dormancy. Getting sleepy. You know what's interesting is I was reading it was either two different articles on Wikipedia or it was the same article on Wikipedia where it was like, this one said the general term hibernation, can be referred to as any winter dormancy. And then somewhere else it was like, oh no, it's brumation if it's like a reptile. Finna hibernate. Listen, my bed's right there. It's calling me. Sleep stream. What if I did this stream and it was a hibernation stream, but instead of me teaching you anything, I was just sleeping to demonstrate hibernation? That would be educational for sure. I'm an animal. I can sleep. Many insects, like the wasp, I can't say that, exhibit periods of dormancy which have been referred to as hibernation. Immersion learning, I like it. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was briefly, because I was thinking maybe I would do like a shorter stream of actually talking about the subject and then afterwards do like a related game, because I didn't really know how long it was going to take me to talk about all this stuff, and I wanted to have like some padding at the end, and I also thought it'd be nice and I wouldn't need to prepare so many notes. And so I was looking a little into like games I could play, and the two possibilities were, well, this wasn't a possibility, I just thought it looked cool. There is a board game called Hibernation, which sounds really fun. It's a deck building game and you have to be a bear. You be the bear. You're a bear competing for available food to be the first to hibernate. And like, if that doesn't sound like a good time, then I don't know what does. And the other thing I think was called EnviroBear. This was the other thing suggested to me. And I just, I was like, I don't think this is quite what I'm going for. The game sounds unbearable to play. Ha ha ha. Who suggested that? I believe it was someone by the name of Human Error. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it might have been. Oh, I opened the wrong thing. Okay. So I believe EnviroBear is also, I guess, a game about hibernation, but also there's a car involved, and I was like, I don't think this is quite it. I also did just kind of want to talk and then see where it led me. And I mean, we're like an hour and 10 in, and I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm a decent way through my notes. I don't know how much longer. This is probably going to be like, well, it'll be at least an hour and a half. After that, I guarantee nothing. If we need padding at the end, I'll go get a lizard or a snake. Out here, see me use these cool broadcasting words like padding, which I learned in school. But you could probably learn without going to school, but it's just a fun word. Padding. Where were we? Let's go look at mammals. Obligate hibernation. Yeah, this was the thing I was looking at, and I was like, what? So obligate hibernators are animals that spontaneously and annually enter hibernation regardless of ambient temperature and access to food. This is what confuses me. Okay? Because I understand, there being a physiological trigger when you reach a certain low temperature of like, oh, okay, the body starts to go into the processes to, sort of start to slow down and stuff. But I don't, like, what causes this? What causes hibernation regardless of the temperature and access to food? I mean, it could be, with the time of year, you do get a different like number of daylight hours and stuff, so maybe it's that, but I was just confused when I read this, honestly. Obligate hibernators include many species of ground squirrels, other rodents, mouse lemurs, excellent, European hedgehogs, and other insectivores, monotremes, and marsupials. I have seen this word before, but I don't know what it means. Yeah, that makes sense. One of the three main groups of living mammals, along with placentals and marsupials. These are the weirdos, the platypi. Platypuses. I don't think it is platypi. Is it? Oh boy. Doesn't matter. a platypus is in this group, and also a echidna. Every time I say the word echidna, my brain just thinks enchilada. I think because I just think of that Knuckles the echidna meme when it's like Knuckles the enchilada, and that's how my brain is wired, so it's unfortunate, but that's reality. These species undergo what's traditionally called hibernation, where the body temperature drops to near ambient temperature and heart respiration slow drastically. It's characterized by periods of torpor interrupted by periodic euthermic arousals during which body temperatures and heart rates are restored. The cause and purpose is not clear why. There's many sleep hypotheses. One is that hibernators build a sleep debt, cumulative effect of not getting out of sleep during hibernation, and so occasionally must warm up to sleep. So, see, that's one thing where it's like there's this hypothesis that it has to be based on the idea that like hibernation and torpor and sleep are different things and are for different things. I don't know, and I feel like I don't know enough about sleep to be able to identify what like the real differences are confidently. Other theories postulate that brief periods of high body temperature during hibernation allow the animal to restore its available energy sources or to initiate an immune response. Yeah, because, well, that is fair, because one of the things that happen when everything slows down is everything slows down, which means your immune response also slows down, which could be a problem if, you know, you're hibernating and a virus comes along or something. God, imagine being a sleep scientist. I cannot. I think I did a paper about sleep once for a psychology class, but I really can't remember what it was about. Your job is to look at sleep. Yeah, I feel like someone I know did a sleep study, but I can't remember who. And I'm like, I would not be able to sleep during a sleep study, probably. And then we have facultative hibernation, which only enter hibernation when cold stressed, food deprived, or both. Okay, so this says the obligate hibernation is based on seasonal timing rather than the actual environment. I feel like that's less efficient. I will say there is a thing I know that goes on, and it's becoming more of an issue now as, you know, global warming and stuff, where we're having more periods of like heating and cooling in the winter. It's getting warmer. And the problem with that, the problem when it gets warmer and then colder and it gets a certain level of warm, is that some animals are roused from their hibernation by reaching a certain temperature, and it takes energy to come out of hibernation. And if they go through that repeatedly, they burn through their fuel like sources faster, and that's not good for them. So we need more ice. Also, I apologize. My skin has been dry lately, but mostly just right here. Right there. And it's really annoying me. I'm just like, ugh. Blech. I hate winter. My knuckles have been drying, and that makes me sad. Just want to hibernate through the winter so I don't have to deal with it. Primates. A good example of differences between the two types of hibernation can be seen in prairie dogs. The white-tailed prairie dog is an obligate hibernator, while the closely related black-tailed prairie dog is a facultative. I'm gonna be honest, I love when people name animals good descriptive names, like white-tailed prairie dog and black-tailed. Beautiful. I could probably pick out what those are. But sometimes people name things other things, and it's not nearly as useful. Like, people like to name animals after people, and I get it. I would love to have an animal named after me, but it makes it very hard to distinguish. Well, I mean, if you actually know your animal ideas, I guess it's not that hard. But for example, we just talked about this in my job, but so here where I live in Ontario, Canada, we have something called a Blandings turtle. And Blandings turtles are named after a person whose last name was Blandings, which is fine. But like alternatively, we also have spotted turtles. And guess what? Spotted turtles have spots. Isn't that nice? Isn't that useful? Really, we should call these like yellow chin turtles, because like look at that. Look at that thing. They also, or like mustache turtles. I believe in French they're called mustache turtles. Anyways, beautiful boy. Beautiful. Okay. Back to it. My friend's cat is named Joseph. Okay, well that's different. I'm talking like, well, I imagine having a dog with a human name like Henry. Oh, I didn't. Yeah. Or I didn't that part. But at least like I want to get a black cat and name it Richard. Is there a joke there that I'm missing? Yeah, if you're new here, I name all of my geckos after food, and I name all of my snakes after just whatever, not food. Because for my geckos, I have peach, cashew, poppy, and tofu. I only have 4, right? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And then for my snakes, I have Osiris, Jasper, and Cora. Nope, just want a black cat named Richard. That's fair. That's fair. Why are we on sleep again? If we're sleep or not essential, one would expect to find animal sleep. Okay, I don't want to look at sleep right now. That'll be a different thing. It seems fitting. I guess so. I just have this thing about some, like, it was a whole thing for me to try to name Cora because I wanted a certain vibe, but it's really hard to explain to people what vibe you want when you don't know what it is. Like, I just wanted a name that kind of went with like Osiris and Jasper, like Mochi or Marshmallow. I love Mochi and Noki. Next to geckos, I get Mochi and Noki. All the cats will have big names. That's pretty good. Yeah. I love the name Tofu. I'm so proud of no. I'm just amused by myself and my gecko named Tofu. Bartholomew boys representing. Yeah. Although if I ever name a cat, if I ever get a cat, I have to name it Samson. So that's already been decided. Because someone in this chat named a cat after me. And he won't admit it, but he did. Anyway. Where were we? Hibernation has long been studied in rodents. No primate or tropical animal was known to hibernate until the discovery of hibernation in the fat-tailed dwarf lavor. What a beautiful name. I bet that thing is small and has a fat tail. Bet you right now. Look at it. Beautiful. Look at him. Look at... God. Lemurs and like stuff in that family, they have such wild eyes. Just absolute freaks. Okay. With Madagascar, which hibernates in a tree hole for 7 months of the year. Malagasy? Oh. Winter temperatures sometimes rise to over 30 degrees, so hibernation is not exclusively an adaptation to low ambient temperatures. That's interesting. Because I thought Madagascar, because it's south, it's pretty far south, I thought it would be warmer. As I said that, I remembered that it's the middle that's warmest because the equator. So I guess it being south, it's actually might be colder. Bears. Do bears really hibernate? Oh wait, sorry. We weren't finished with the lemur. The hibernation of this lemur is strongly dependent on the thermal behavior of its tree hole. If the hole is poorly insulated, the lemur's body temperature fluctuates. If it's well insulated, it stays constant. I mean, that makes sense. Bears. There was a question of whether bears truly hibernate, since they only experience a modest decline in body temperature, only a little bit, compared with the much larger decreases seen in other hibernators. Many researchers thought that their deep sleep was not comparable with true hibernation. They're not true hibernators, but research in 2011 refuted this theory in captive black bears and brown bears. Hibernate bears are able to recycle their proteins in urine, allowing them to stop urinating for months and to avoid muscle atrophy. That's pretty cool, though, avoiding muscle atrophy. They stay hydrated with the metabolic fat that is produced in sufficient quantities that satisfy the water needs of the bear. They don't eat or drink. That's wild. They don't suffer from osteoporosis. That's important. I think it's absolutely wild that, like, I don't know a ton off the top of my head about the processes that go into hibernation, but it's wild because, like, it's saying the body shifts from, like, just producing waste products to recycling those waste products, like, and that's wild to me. Imagine if you never had to pee again. Ideal. Okay. Hibernators. Okay. Care about these birds. Ancient people believe that swallows hibernated, but ornithologist Gilbert. Okay, there's like 3 cents in this. Vast majority of bird species don't really hibernate. They use torpor. One known exception is the common porwheel. Oh my god. Oh my god, look at it. Oh my god. Oh! 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 Oh, I went the wrong way. Oh! God! Look at this little bump! Look at his whiskers! Look at his eyeball! I'm losing it. I'm absolutely losing it. Look at this thing. God. Sorry, I need a second to look at porwheels. It's a nocturnal bird. God, I love nocturnal birds. The nightjars! Got eyes like a Vishnu mouth. There's, ooh, what's that bird called? There's a bird, and I think it might be a nightjar, and it's a freak of a bird. And oh boy, I don't remember what it's called though. Sadly. Nightjar. I don't know what it's called. Weirdest looking. It had like a weird, unique name, I think. Nah, that's a good one though. Nightjar. I think it's a nightjar, but I'm not sure. Oh, there he is. There he is. Yes, the patu. Yes. 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 How is this thing real? Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's really good. God, I love nature. Okay. Sorry, I got really carried away. I like the Poe too. Okay. Oh god, I have to recover for a second from that. I see you're having fun tonight on stream. I love this stuff. Also, we just had a good idea for a tweet, but I'm gonna do it later. Dormancy and ectotherms. Because they cannot actively downregulate their body temperature, ectothermic animals cannot hibernate. Yeah, but they exhibit dormancy. This is what I mean, because earlier it was like, nah, you can call it hibernation, but now they're like, it is not hibernation, actually, okay? Was once thought that basking sharks settled to the floor of the North Sea and became dormant, but David Sims said no. And the sharks go far places. Epaulette. I don't know how to say that. Sharks have been documented to be able to survive 3 hours without oxygen. That's wild. That is wild. Hibernation induction trigger. I feel like I read this before and it was not helpful. Okay, so that's like a little bit about hibernation. We could look more specifically at animals that do it, but I feel like we've covered quite a few of them already, and it's like almost 7:30, and I want to make a PO2 tweet soon, so I'm okay if we end a little early. But what did I not talk about here? Yeah, so we talked about obviously bears do it. Stuff like woodchucks and ground squirrels and bats also hibernate. Reptiles brumate. And the only other point I really had for hibernation was that usually hibernation is done in like a den or a cave or a burrow or under trees. Oh, I will say one very spicy thing is garter snakes. Well, not just garter snakes, but you particularly see in garter snakes. All right, time for me to wander home from the co-working space. It's around 7:30. I may jump back on when I get home. If not, have a great night. I might be done by then, but no worries. I really appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much. Have a lovely night. But let's look at hibernaculum. That's how you spell it, right? Nope, it's not. I missed some letters in there. Ignore that. But other snakes will also do this, but you especially see garter snakes. So that's fine. You have a good night. And you see this. Because snakes are not social, but you do see some like quasi-social behavior when they're hibernating, which is they'll all hibernate in like the same place. Snake orgy. No, but they'll all hibernate in the same place. And part of the reason for that is it helps with like the insulation and you stay warmer. But you like in the spring, you can find places where there's just absolute piles of garter snakes, which is honestly the dream. Look at them. I love garter snakes. I saw one the other day. I just would like to look, please. Oh, I didn't want to copy that. I just wanted to view it. Thank you. Beautiful. Look at the beautiful voice. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them. Oh, they've got a red-sided one in there, and these are probably just Easterns. So good. So good. Oh, now they're red-sided. Okay. Okay. Oh, look at him. High-low tubes. Okay. No, let me zoom. Zoom. Oh. There's one. That's a man. Look at him. I also love garter snakes. Oh, they're peeping. Oh, there's another one. They're peeking. Look at him. He's peeking. We're all peeking. Okay. But again, you will see other species also do that. You just tend to see tons and tons of garter snakes doing it together. Hello, warrior girl. So nice to see you. So nice. Happy to have you here. Whoops. Okay. Got distracted again. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to talk about briefly was turtles, because turtles will hibernate, well, at least like the ones here, will hibernate under the water. And they do so, they're able to breathe, I guess. They can still respire because they do it through their cloaca. They breathe through their butt. But they hang out underneath the water because the temperatures actually tend to be less variable under the water than on the land. She just did the biggest smile. I am happy to be here. Was visiting. Yeah. All Ontario's turtles hibernate through the winter, and their hibernating sites are located at the bottom of ponds. Yeah, and then they don't have to eat and stuff. Oh my god, a baby. Okay. So good. So good. Okay, I have to stop looking at those. A bat. So that's pretty much it for hibernation. I briefly wanted to talk about estivation because I think estivation is very cool. So we'll close out of hibernation, and then we'll talk about estivation if I can find a thing for it. Nope, I clicked out. I clicked out of it. Where did it go? There it is. Estivation. It's also dormancy, but it's in the summer when it's too warm. And so this, kind of like the cold temperatures and when there's not a lot of food, this is kind of the same, except when it's high temperatures and it's too dry, so you're at a risk of a lot, like too much water loss. And it can also be because of less food resources, but again, that's usually because of the hot, dry temperatures. The fossil records suggest that estivation may have evolved several hundred million years ago. That is a long time. Organisms that estivate appear to be in a fairly light state of dormancy, as their physiological state can be rapidly reversed. So I guess that's a little bit different than the hibernation, and it may be because, like, in terms of, I was going to say in terms of issues to deal with, it may be easier to deal with hot temperatures than cold temperatures, again, because cold, like, temperatures literally slow you down, but I don't know, so I'm gonna leave that alone. But they do a light state of dormancy. There's a snail that can wake from their dormant state within 10 minutes of being introduced to water environment. And that may just be because, particularly with the water loss, it makes sense, because it's like, if there is abundant water, then why would you stay in your dormant state? The primarily physiological and biochemical concerns for an estivating animal are to conserve energy, retain water, ration the use of stored energy, handle the nitrogenous end products, and stabilize all the things. This can be quite a task, as hot temperatures and arid conditions may last 4 months. Oh, sip, thank you. The depression of metabolic rate I am not estivating. Are you trying to stop me from estivating? The depression of metabolic rate during estivation causes a reduction in macromolecule synthesis and degradation. To stabilize the macromolecules, estivators will enhance antioxidant defenses and elevate chaperone. Now we're getting into the stuff that I don't like as much. Do I need tea? I would love some tea, thank you. I'll have some tea after my stream. I don't anticipate I'll go a whole lot longer, but thank you. I will be, I'm getting to the end of my notes, so I don't anticipate this will be super long. So we have some gastropods, mollusks, that do this, particularly land snails, because as you might imagine, aquatic snails have an abundance of water. What are your fave TP? Commonly estivate during periods of heat. That again makes sense, like I was saying before, because about like some worms doing it and, some snails doing it, because those are animals especially that kind of need a constant level of humidity or just like wetness to survive. It's why they're slimy. Okay, Wazo, put the kettle on. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Some species move into shaded vegetation or rubble. Others climb tall plants. God, ideal. I want to climb a tall plant. Their habit of climbing vegetation to estivate has caused more than one introduced snail species to be declared an agricultural nuisance. Maybe agriculture's a nuisance. We have this mixed berry tea in the house right now that I have been very into recently. Spicy. Or not spicy, as the case may be. We're talking about mucus, so I'm going to move on. Arthropods, insects, lady beetles have been reported to estivate. Mosquitoes may also estivate. False honey ants are well known for being winter active. Bogong moths will estivate over the summer to avoid the heat and lack of food resources. Alfalfa weevils estivate. God, what does a weevil look like? Not great. Okay. During which metabolism, respiration, and nervous system show a dampening of activity. The Australian crab estivates underground during the dry season. I told you that crabs were relevant, and they were. Okay. Non-mammalian animals that estivate include desert tortoises, crocodiles, and salamanders. I don't know a whole lot about their estivation, so I'm kind of interested in that. Like, I know more about how turtles hibernate because we have them here, but I don't know about their estivation, and I want to. Life cycle, conservation status, no. State reptile, no, I want to know about the estivation. Oh my god, it's not going to tell me. Okay. I want to know where. I want to know why. I want to know what's up. They have lifestyle and body parts adapted to life in the desert. They hibernate to avoid cold winters, and they estivate during the summer. God, they barely be living. They barely be living. All right, tortoisegroup.org. Tell me things. Already some tortoises are staying in their burrows. Often in the hardest part of the summer, tortoises will stay in for days or even weeks. Not to worry. They've had plenty to eat and drink during the spring. They will be fine. I will say also, as a general thing in reptiles, I mean, you see this particularly in snakes, but also other reptiles, because they don't have to make their own heat, they're ectotherms. They don't usually need like as much fuel as a mammal or even a bird would, and so it's not as much of a concern if they don't eat for a bit. Like snakes, particularly like big snakes and fully grown ones, can go like months without eating, and this includes when they're brumating, they won't eat. Sometimes when they're like, it's mating season, they won't eat either. So that's nice. It's a good time. The period of inactivity and lowered. Yeah, okay. It's normal. It's normal. God, oh, to be a desert tortoise and to sleep for most of the year. I also want to look at crocodile estivation. I'm especially interested in this because crocodiles are like, they're aquatic. Maybe the water dries up. Wait, what? Until the weather heats up again? That's not it. That's not right. Oh boy. I want to know. I don't feel like any of this is really useful. I don't think that's... Why do crocodiles estivate? Sure. Okay, I don't think it's gonna tell me. That's okay. Salamanders also estivate. Salamanders, because they're amphibians, also need quite a bit of moisture, because they take in water and stuff through their skin, and in order to do that, they need the environment to be moist, because to have, what's it called? Like, I'm having a moment. Like, for respiration, you need a membrane that is wet, I think. I don't totally remember why, but you do. Can't breathe dry. That's science. Yep. Some amphibians, like the... Oh, that was just... Sorry, I just had a moment because I thought this says amphibians and salamanders are amphibians, so I was confused because I thought they were grouping these as reptiles, and I was like, come on, Wikipedia. Come on. The California red-legged frog may estivate to conserve energy when food and water supply is low. The water-holding frog has an estivation cycle. Sorry, I have to go look at it. He's beautiful, and he holds water? What a talented man. Beautiful. Beautiful man. Okay. It buries itself in sandy ground and secretes mucus. Good stuff. Australian Aboriginals. Okay, so I'm probably saying that wrong. Discovered a means to take advantage of this by digging up one of the frogs and squeezing it, causing it to empty its bladder. The dilute urine can be drunk. However, this will cause the death of the frog. Oh, I like green tea. Me too. Bring him back. I miss him. Here he is. Would you like to give him a smooch? Sorry, I was preoccupied. It's okay. God, look at his skin. That's so cool looking. Looks like a forest. My heart happy. Sorry, guys. Can't do any more stream. Gotta stay on the frog. The only way. Gotta look at the eyeball. Okay. Anyway. Where were we? The western swamp turtle estivates also. Fancy. African lungfish estivate. I want to look at them. We can look at salamander fish too. So we got lungfish. This is the example species for when I learned about estivation in school. They're elongated, eel-like fish. They have soft scales, so on and so forth. The African lungfish is an example of how the evolutionary transition from breathing water to breathing air happened. Hey, do they have lungs? I can't remember. They are air breathers. They have reduced lungs. They're a fish that... God, look at his legs. I don't know how I feel about that. Is it gonna tell me about estivation? I feel like it's not. Estivation? Hello? Upsetting. lungfish. Estivation. Can't believe they wouldn't tell me about the estivation. Like all fish, mixed berry and green are good choices. Lungfish have organs known as gills. Tell me, National Geographic, about the lung. Oh lord. Oh lordy lord. No, I don't want video. Thank you. They have survived unchanged for so long, and they're sometimes nicknamed living fossils. They have a primitive lung and the ability to survive. That's good. I don't want to read about the lung right now. They make a cocoon and digestion of the fish's own muscle tissue to obtain nutrients. That's messed up. They also have a behavioral adaptation where they furiously burrow into the muddy ground, allows them to create a protected environment where they can survive long. That's fancy. I feel like this is not going to tell me what I want to know, but I do want to know what a salamander fish looks like. So I like Japanese genmaicha green tea. No. Incorrect. Not that. Thank you. Oh. Why are they called salamander fish? Just because they kind of look like salamanders. Okay. Oh. Forg man. Okay. Although relatively uncommon, a small number of mammals estivate. Oh, it's just talking about the dwarf lemur. We already know. Eastern African hedgehogs are thought to estivate during the dry season also. Okay, I feel like that's, about all I have to say on the matter. I think I've gone through all my notes. Yeah. So that's the stream. That's it. We got pretty close to 2 hours. If I got out a gecko for a bit, that would be, we would get there, I feel like. Okay. Hold on. I'm remembering this time that I can raid someone, so I'm going to see who is online. Or if there is anybody online right now. That's okay. We're just, you know what? We'll just look at the frog for a minute. We're just gonna take in his beauty while I figure out what I'm doing now. Okay. I think I'm gonna go make tea. I'm gonna go have tea. We'll just go stop by Shamira's house. We'll go say hi, Shamira. 495, is that his name? Hold on. Oh god, I'm sorry, I took away the frog. Hold on. I have to double check. 495, yes. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. Thank you for the follows and the subs and for hanging out with me while I talk about hibernation. I appreciate it. I hope you have a good day. YouTube down. Kettle is hot. Wonderful. Okay. Well, I'm going to get my ending screen ready if you'll just give me a moment here. But again, thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. Oh god, I done it silly. Okay, great. And we're going to play some music. And I'm going to leave. Goodbye!